take you back in time to almost 2,500 years to see our present and maybe our future. Socrates, the greatest ancient scholar the world has ever known, is condemned to death on false charges and forced to drink hemlock because he thought and questioned himself and other people, which forced them to think and doubt their own beliefs. And since then, it has been happening over and over and over again that Socrates is being condemned to death and being forced to drink hemlock. But nothing much has changed since then, has it? When I started school, I used to be so curious. I used to ask a lot of questions about everything we read. I thought, made assumptions, and questioned again, and never got tired of questioning. Every new detail made me even more curious, and I questioned even more. But as I started to climb up the school ladder, this curiosity started to fade away, bit by bit, until it vanished completely. The reason was, now I had to cram instead of learning because I had to take grades, which are considered the proof of genius. This is not only my story, but students all over the world have to drink the same hemlock which kills the Socrates within them too. We are faced by so many problems, for each of which we have a lot of solutions, most of which are even worse than the problems themselves. But wait, however, I have one solution for all these problems, and it's definitely not bad at all. So if you were expecting me to say it is pathologism, it is a question which would lead us to think, which would start a chain reaction of thoughts and more questions. If people had this ability to question, most of our problems, most of the world's problems would have been solved. Like if people had this ability to question, they would not have fallen prey to terrorism. They would have questioned every doctrine being taught, every norm, every creed being fed, and would have ended up being saved by their own inborn faculty to reason. They would not have been indoctrinated, rationalized, and used. This is the picture of Socrates drinking hemlock. And since then, it has been happening over and over and over again that Socrates is being forced to drink hemlock. Every student is Socrates. Now, just think how many stereotypes there are in the world. Like cultural stereotypes, stereotypes related to a religion, stereotypes which are related to racism. These cause inequality and injustice in the society. And if people had the ability to question, they would have questioned, they would have considered every fact they ignore and would have eradicated all these misconceptions. Similarly, problems like global warming, depletion of natural resources, and deforestation can also be solved if we enhance this ability to question in students. Like whenever someone will waste a unit of electricity, waste a gallon of water, cut a tree, it would force him to comprehend what devastation it is going to cause. And they would do right when they will know what is right. But now the question remains, how can we achieve this? The answer is pretty simple actually. If we just let the Socrates within every student to live by letting their imagination, creativity and innovation to roam freely, we would be able to enhance their ability to question. We need to teach students how to think, not what to think. Education, we need to educate them. Education is not mind control. It must not be confused with, you could say, cramming books. Because education comes from the Latin word educe, which means to bring out, not to feed in. We need thinkers. We need responsible citizens and leaders. And this system of schooling created to prepare factory workers won't work for this. We need to trace back the roots of schools to the first school of the world, Plato's Academy, and realize that the basis on which it was built was to question. Nothing was taught and everything was discussed. We need to realize that students may be only 20% of the world's population, but they are 100% of its future. The inclination to question was what made the world's greatest philosopher. And his method to question was what became the basis of the world's first school. But instead of adopting his method to question, we adopted the Athenian court's method to silence those who question. Thank you all.